This is hilarious. I cannot.
Hey everybody, it's Deanna. And we are Fearless Entrepreneurship Live, where I come on once a week and just talk to you about some business ideas and ways to help your business grow. Today, I have Jennifer Weber, who is an intellectual property attorney, and we're talking about trademarks and copyrights. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm great. I'm laughing because I see myself in reverse and it's very weird.
You'll get used to it.
Okay.
Yep, just give it time.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you are in Billings, Montana, also with me. But you're from you're from Montana, and then you went to California. Now you're back in Montana, right?
I'm from California.
Oh, okay. I got that mixed up then.
But no. But my dad's side of the family is from Montana, so I've been to Montana as a visiting family most of my life, or since I was like 6 months old or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, strong connections here, and so visiting family, I decided to move here a while back. Then
awesome.
Years at the end of this year.
So you are an attorney that deals with intellectual property, and gosh, we've had conversations about this before, but this is so important, and I think a lot of times it's so ignored because of the time and the perception of money. So people think that they can just put it on the back burner, not really deal with it, right? But it's really important if you have a business. So first off, let's talk about what is the difference between a trademark and a copyright.
Okay. I definitely agree with your premise. It's daunting. I found that a lot of people, it's not even back burner. They don't know to think about it. So that's one of my favorite things, is to be able to talk about it and make sure that people understand. So you introduced me as an intellectual property attorney, and that's an umbrella concept that covers patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. So they're all different things. And so we're talking about trademarks and copyrights today, because that's where you're really focusing on protecting your content and your brand. Okay, so your content, let's say you're a coach and you've got all these worksheets or your videos, your website, all the materials you've created. I call it creative capital. And then someone was like, just call it hard work. It's all my hard work.
True.
Totally true, because I can relate to that in my own life. It's super hard work. And, once it's all beautiful and on, branded and everything, people think, oh, I can just copy that. I'll just take that. Look how that's so easy. I'll make a business like. So a copyright is something that protects an original work of authorship. Now that's under the statutes and the language. So that means the simplest thing is if you take a photo on your phone today, you own the copyright in that.
Oh,
okay. So that's an original work of authorship. So it's not like, the great American novel, great, kind of thing. So a copyright is original work that is tangible. So it's not an idea. That's the important thing, because people say, well, they stole my idea. It's like, well, did you execute that idea, right? Did you make it tangible? So you write your coaching materials. Let's say, I'm preparing to teach a new class, so I'm creating a workbook to go with it, something like that. Once that's done and complete, then I have a copyright in it. So a copyright, it can protect things like music, lyrics, written words, ebooks, video, audio, a whole host of things. So that's a broad statement. I don't know if that's I can go into it a little more, but so when my client says hard work and I say creative capital, it's everything that you've created that you can protect. And there are two different ways to protect it. So you have a copyright from the time it's tangible. Okay, so we all took that photo today.
Right.
Right. It was my thumb that pressed that button. Then I have a copyright from today for the rest of my life. plus 70 years. And that's something that people don't understand, or nor should they until they learn about it, right? That
Huh.
intellectual property, you got to focus on the property part. It can be part of your estate plan. Okay. So
Okay.
let's say you write a book, it's wildly successful, and you're getting royalties on that, over your lifetime. And then, or a musician, you're getting royalties on your music. That's part of your estate plan of who those royalties will go to for 70 years after you've passed on.
So what if I wrote a book
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't extend it past my life, right? And I pass away. So what happens like with the royalties from that book?
So no, that's the thing. It's so that would be part of your estate plan, right? You would say,
Okay.
I am getting royalties on my fabulous series of books, and
Yes.
um, once I'm gone, those royalties I want to go to family members, or I want it to go to a nonprofit, whatever you choose to do. So it's from your life plus 70 years. So that's
I
a
gotcha.
long
I
time.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's pretty important. Um, Now, what's a key difference is there's the Copyright Office, the United States Copyright Office, and there's a difference from just having your copyright versus registering for a copyright registration, for applying for a copyright registration. And it's important to do that. In a lot of cases, there's a business analysis that goes to it. But if you have a copyright registration with the Copyright Office, then you need that. You need that registration to be able to protect your assets. So if someone copies your book, your ebook, your
Yeah.
whatever you've created, and you want to send a cease and desist letter and say, nope.
Not today.
Not today, sir. So copyright infringement is literally making a copy, right?
Yeah.
So, among other things, but it's making a copy. So, in order to go into court, you do need that registration. So, it is important to know that while you have your copyright from the day it's been tangible and created, there's an additional step and if you're a really big content producer creating a lot of things, then
Yeah.
comes a business decision about what you're going to register every time, and how to register them, and things like that. So that's pretty important, because when you have a registration, it is possible, if you're successful in suing someone, you can get attorney's fees and also statutory damages. And so most people perk up at attorney's fees.
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Super helpful, right? And so it's helpful to know that if you have a good case, there's a strong chance to get your attorney's fees back. So you're not just, because you're right, it is expensive. You have, in the intellectual property world, you do want to protect yours, and it's, when I was practicing in LA, was at the seminar where they asked, are you a plaintiff or defense attorney? And that's how you usually think of attorneys, right? You're on
Yeah.
one side.
Right.
And the partners I worked with, we all kind of looked at each other and was like, because you can be either one for your client, because someone could say you're infringing us and we could say you're wrong, or
Right.
you're absolutely right, client, you got to do something, or we're the ones saying, hey, you're infringing our client's work, so it's
Right.
very sides of that.
Wow. So what if I had an ebook and I don't actually register it to be for copyrights, right? I don't go through that step. And then I find out somebody has taken pieces of it and used it as their own. Is there anything I can do?
Well, that is one reason why I say that if your ebook is one of your main courses, your main revenue source, even if it's your freebie lead, not even if, because it's still hard. I'm working on my own right now. Totally.
Okay.
Anything. So here's the difference. Let's say you could go after someone and you could meet all the requirements that they have in fact copied your work.
Okay.
whatever. In order to sue them, you need that copyright certificate of registration.
Okay.
And if you file for it now, you just made it, you're like, it's a business practice, I have a system, I do this, then it's $35 for an application.
Okay. Well, that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's if you do it yourself, hire an attorney, that of course, but $35.
Okay.
You find out someone's copying it, and you need to get that certificate of registration to file a lawsuit, or at least even send the letter. It's $800.
Oh, wow.
Because it's in anticipation of litigation.
Okay.
So that's why I strongly suggest is, developing a plan, and, it maybe not everything, $35 adds up, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of strategy to decide what you're going to protect. But so things like that, ebooks and various things. So that's where you want to decide. And so I'll stop rambling and go through.
No, that's good information. So what does the $35 actually do? I mean, because if somebody's using it, does it protect you at all, or do you just have proof that it was in effect at that particular time?
So,
and you came first, I guess.
So what I'm saying, so when you fill out the application, you're saying, you're giving a lot of information about the work, when it was created, various things like that. And let's say I mailed it off today, or well, not mailed. No, we don't mail anymore.
Emailed it off.
I don't know where that came from. It's just, so if you're, so you file for your copyright today, it takes a while. They've got a huge,
Oh, sure.
filing, right? So it takes a while, but the great thing is that your application backdates to the day that you filed it. Now, if you don't have to, let's say you created something 5 years ago and you want to file for a copyright registration, you can still do that. And you've got dates down. It's a whole nother animal about attorney's fees and things, so I don't want to get into that depending on when you register and do things. But what the registration allows you to do is say, I have this certificate of registration, and that's the piece that lets you go to court and say,
I gotcha.
And that's where you make your case of, here's my original work, and
right,
which we say is an original. And then if you're showing that they had access, that they had subscribed to you and got that, then you make all the legal arguments, right? But to get into court and be able to do that, you need to have the registration.
I gotcha. So you kind of, when you talked about mailing, it reminded me of something I'd heard a long time ago, and it's called, is it Poor Man's Copyright or Poor Man's Trademark or something? And I was told at one point by somebody that if you write it down and mail it to yourself and keep it sealed, it will hold up in court. You're shaking your head. So obviously you've heard of this too.
I get this question fairly regularly, not all the time, but it comes up.
Yeah.
So I think the idea behind that, and it used to be, I've heard it called a poor man's patent. I've heard it called,
that's what it is. Yes.
All the things. And the idea is that, if I put it in the mail and the postal service stamps it, then there's a date, and then that means it was created on this day, or it existed on this day, or whatever the heck. And it just doesn't have any evidentiary value in court. It's just, save yourself the stamp at this point, just,
don't do it.
It's not going to help you. You have copyright rights from the moment it's created. So if it's your business to create content, tracking that, if you're an artist, and your paintings, maybe there's a record of when it's complete, or you've offered it for sale or something like that. So generally when that is, you'll see one basic thing that you can do. You don't have to have a registration to do this for copyrights, but you can put, if you've seen the C in the circle, if you scroll down people's websites, it's in books, it's everywhere. be the C in the circle, which means copyright. It's a shorthand for that.
Yeah.
And then it would be, it could be the name of your company and the year. So that's one way to market. You'll see websites that will have range of dates sometimes, different things like that. So yeah, the poor man's whatever you call it isn't going to help you. So take the time to write down when you create it. Create a system.
Yeah.
To track your content.
So I don't know if you have dug into this question or not, because I'm guessing it's probably fairly new, but just recently I saw something that a photographer posted her images on Instagram and actually lost in court because in the fine print on Instagram, it says that they have the right to reuse anything that we post on Instagram. So they reused one of her images, and I should have sent you the link to kind of look at it before this. So I apologize. I don't mean to put you on the spot here. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but I was really shocked because I would think that that's still hers. And I do know if we post anything on social media, it's like free game is the way I've always seen it. But a photographer, that really is like their work of art. Same with artists. So like, are there like some guidelines of what to do and what not to do, or how that photographer may have been able to be better protected? Or if you post it on Instagram, just know that this is the way that it rolls. Like,
well, I think that so send me the link and I can read through it in a post or something like that. But generally, you'll see like maybe your friends sometimes post a thing. I'm on that Facebook announcement. I own all the rights and stuff.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
I'm like, please stop this. When will this stop cycling through?
So, so we get a little immune to that. But no, you're on their platforms, right? And so we've all signed into, and just generally you go terms of service, click, I want to get the thing, right?
Yeah. Don't read it. No one reads it.
Sometimes I do, but
you might be the only one, you and some other attorneys.
Or I'm trying to explain it to someone else. I better know what it says.
Yeah.
So interestingly, if you have a Facebook group online and you have no other presence as a business owner, you can't claim a trademark.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't own anything on Facebook. And so Facebook and Instagram are the same. So I'd be really interested in seeing that article, because what I'm guessing is that she posted something, one of her original work, and then it was used to somehow. And it'd be interesting to know how it was used. But if the case came down to just the terms and what you agreed to, then that's a really hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
And figuring out like, how would I advise someone to, consult with that as a consultant? Just be like, well, okay, here are the terms. So, don't put your whole portfolio on there.
Right. Be smart about what you're sharing.
Decide what you're going to use, decide what to share, and do that. So now I'm going to have to go read the Instagram.
It's actually in the group Fearless Entrepreneurship. And I know that I shared the page, but I'll have to do a little digging to find it. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I didn't know I was going to ask it until we started talking. And I was like,
this is why I love doing these conversations. But yeah, I mean, to give you your group a good answer, I would need to, it's a fair thing to go. It's not even, it depends. This time I need to read it and understand it. But no, it creates an important point of the power of terms of service, because I have I'm in a group where it's a networking group. It's a closed group, 20 people, and we've all clicked the terms of service for her stuff that we want to participate, and we're going to do this, and we're not going to copy her stuff, and and then someone in a group copied everything and started her own Facebook group doing the same thing.
Oh, wow.
And so it's interesting how she handled it, because first, because it was funny, she posted generally like, what did she, something like, you all signed the terms of service. And the person said, no, I didn't. And she was like, yes, you did. This is all in the group, because you couldn't be in my group unless you agreed to my aid, And so then she read them again. She said she read them and that she was fine. So it's very self-serving that, I'm not in violation of copying all of your stuff. So that's where, for business owners, I know we're talking about copyright and trademarks today, but getting the contract and agreement side of things tightened up, so that it's not only you're infringing my copyright, because maybe you don't have a copyright registration right now, it's starting out, or it's not part of the, whatever the reasons, you need to be able to point to a contract and said you had agreed to do this. And so that's important as well. So unfortunately, also with I'm not bashing any company, but when you've got a big company like that, when you sign the terms of service, you don't get to negotiate, right? Like, you can agree to them and use our platform or not,
Right.
And so, I'll look into it and read it. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was. I definitely, I was shocked, because I would think that they would not use it if it was a business, if it was like their stream of income, right? If I post a picture of, donuts, it has nothing to do with me. Use it over and over. Yeah, whatever, right? But if a photographer and artist posted, I thought, I don't know why I thought it would be a double standard, but
reasonable assumption. And I remember back at some stage of Facebook, I don't know, it was like, maybe you could click a box now, but when you first couldn't. And so if I happen to like the local donut company, I could be marketed that Jennifer Weber likes this, and it would, advertise it. And there was an outcry about that, because it's like, I didn't agree to market this company.
Yeah.
Kind of things. And so that's a whole nother area of law about, so it's like, you don't get to, there is, we get it now, and that was early days social media, but now it's more, we understand what we're getting into. I'm going to be, oh, Jen likes this, I'll like that too, that social something, and that's fine. But I'm going to have to read that, because it's pretty interesting. But I would agree with you on that. Well, if that's their business and channel, how they make income, they shouldn't do that. But I don't know how many Instagram accounts they are. So they're not going to want to say some, but not all, because
right.
Department just handling those complaints,
Right. Now that makes sense.
You're like, no, donuts are a key thing to my whole teaching. The only reason I make money is if I talk about donuts. And they're like,
So if you are a new business, right, and you're coming up with your business name, how can you make sure that name has not been used anywhere else so that you don't get in trouble?
Okay, it's a great question. So that's definitely a trademark issue. So just to answer your basic search, you can Google your whatever internet browser you like, go in and type your name, your business name in there. And don't add anything like coach or anything, just type it in. And then spend time and go to like page 10 of the results and more, and see what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Two reasons I say that. One, you're going to see that maybe it's super crowded, and it's tough. Like if you're in a hair salon business or, esthetician, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the same names I'll see, and that's just normal.
Yeah.
So you can search there. But let me back up and just explain what a trademark is. So, so when you see the symbol TM or a R in a circle, those relate to trademarks. And what a trademark does is it's a source identifier. Like if you think cattle branding, right? We know what ranch that came from.
Yeah.
So in the sense that your trademark is a source identifier of the goods and services. So I typically use coffee examples. Now I got to work on my donut examples because it works.
Coffee's good. I drink more coffee than donuts.
So usually when I give a talk, I'll say, hey, you know, and this I've got to change it up because people aren't traveling as much right now. But back in the day when you were long drive late at night getting somewhere, maybe it's vacation and you just want some coffee.
Yeah.
On the interstate driving down the highway, like what signs do you see for coffee? Like I'm sure images popped in your head, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking of like gas stations in Ohio more.
Yeah.
The gas stations, yeah, with their big thing of coffee.
Right. Give me the gallon and I'll be good
Yeah.
to go, you know, with my snacks. No, but it could be so whether it's the gas station that's a chain in your town,
Yeah.
you've traveled farther than they are, so it's more the Golden Arches, the McDonald's,
Yeah.
the Starbucks, the Dunkin' Donuts. We got some donuts in there.
I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't had it in store, but I've had it, you know, where you can buy. Oh, it's so good.
So good.
We are not compensated by Dunkin' Donuts for
Yeah.
this.
Right.
Disclaimer. Yeah, get a sponsor. So that's the power of a brand, right? Now it could be just like it's just the Golden Arches. That's a logo, right? That's not even words, but you know that McDonald's, you know that they're probably open late. You know what kind of coffee you can get there. You know what kind of food you can get with there. You know the time of service, whether you can drive through or go in. The place is going to be clean. You know the whole experience.
Right.
So when you work with your brand people and they're talking about brand promise, that's part of it. So the trademark is part of that. That's how you identify. I know I'm going to have that experience. If it's Starbucks, and I'm on the interstate, I'm guaranteed pretty much it's going to have a drive-through, which I like if I don't want to stop, right? It's just
right.
through and keep going. I know I can get some insane cookie. I can get a really fancy drink, a very simple drink. I could get tea, whatever I want, but same idea. You know, the experience, quality, time of service, all the things.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about a trademark as a source identifier, that kind of helps explain it. It's like, you know, the quality. So trademark infringement is different than copyright infringement. So trademark infringement is the consumer likely to be confused by someone else's brand.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty clear that if you pulled up into what you thought was a Starbucks it's not a Starbucks, you could figure it out pretty quick, right? Like you'd be like, this is not, you know, but an example of how you can be confused pretty easily is running into a grocery store to buy that pasta sauce totally late, or maybe you send a family member, go get the one we like. The pasta's boiling, like just like, get them on, you know, kind of thing. And they run in and they grab it and they go and you know, throw it in and you're cooking it. The jar, whatever you came in, you know, gets tossed and you sit down to eat and you're like, this is so gross. Or something's not right, you know, this is, they've changed their recipe or whatever. Well, it could be that there is a company out there that's trying to look just as close as they can to that sauce. And so that's actual confusion. If I grab the wrong one off the shelf you know, to do that. And so the damage to your brand is that I might not buy the one I like anymore because it's like, well, it doesn't taste. They changed the thing. What the heck? You know, it's not worth a lot of research about it or pull the jar back out of the trash to see, you know, did we make a mistake or are you sure? You know, it's just in the chaos of life. On bigger levels, you'll see where it's like, yes, people purposely buy knockoff brands. They know they're buying a knockoff, whatever.
Right.
Well, not fine from the IP standpoint, but there's
but they're aware, right?
They're doing. Like there's anyway. So, but where it's really, you know, where it's really sophisticated infringement, the Rolex watches, the high-end brands, there have been, when I go to conferences on this stuff, there have been whole cars, that have been copied completely.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of trademark infringement that could have dangerous effects. So I've gone off topic here.
That's all right.
Understanding what trademark infringement is. So you don't want to infringe on someone else, and you don't want someone to infringe on you. So,
right.
You don't want to be confused with someone else's. So that's the first thing. If you're starting out and you're picking a name, do those searches. Go online, see, because it's like, it could be a great name and it's not taken, but then there's this weird association with some band that you're like, I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm not in the band, or, So
right.
giving you a broader look to how your name lands in the world, I guess is a way to say that. So Google is the first start. Now, you can go to the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It's uspto.gov. And under trademarks, there's a test database, and you can search. And you can put your trademark in there to see, or your proposed business name to see. And you could get 0 results. That's what happened to me for my trademark, which was pretty darn exciting. Or you could get 1,000 results or more, which just happened to a friend of mine the other day. Which is fine, because to have a trademark, it has to be only for the goods and services that you're providing.
Okay.
So generally speaking, we're going to say that you provide coaching and consulting services. You do a lot more than that, but that would be one class of goods, consulting services under trademarks. So under the classes, there are 45 different classes of goods and services. So when you see people out there, that's the next step. First, you just want to see if the name's taken, and then you want to see if it's in the same space, because if it's so my trademark is Start, Grow, Thrive for legal services. So if it was out there for a greenhouse, that's fine. That's no one's going to confuse those two.
Right.
So those are the ways to look. If you are, you can also, of course, that's just a good starting place that I recommend to people before you even speak to an attorney.
Okay.
Or do anything. Because we call it a knockout search. If I have to say it's taken, it's, your trademark, name, goods, and services, that's just not even a 1-2 punch. It's just a knockout. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I was at a trade show or a conference, and they had, booths and things to shop at. And I got to talking, because I can't remember the company now, but they made boots, and this was in Austin, Texas. And it was a really cool business name,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, sorry, geeking out a little bit, trademark attorney. It's a really cool name,
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we went through 10 because our attorney told us, like, nope, you can't have that. Nope, you can't have that.
Wow.
It's pretty tough to have to hear that.
Yeah.
So there is a whole host of things that goes into selecting a good name and what would be good as a trademark. But you have to understand that so you've done your search. Let's say you've Google, the thing about trademarks is that they can coexist. So even if you got a federal registration, you are not going to be able to shut people down that existed before you.
Okay.
So that's a misnomer. Some people think, I get to own the world and shut everyone down. It's like, nope. You develop common law trademark rights from the time you've started using your business name. So it's another good thing to track when you started, or, did that, or for services. And so you can coexist with other companies. So if you're really looking to distinguish yourself, that research is really good to be like, okay, we want to really go somewhere else. And as you know, I teach some classes that go into more depth about how to select things. So I'm not trying to be vague here. It's just a lot. Usually my classes are.
No, I'm sure. Do you have any classes coming up, either online or in person?
I'm doing online Zoom.
Okay.
And trademark will be Thursday of next week. And I'm launching a copyright class, which might be Tuesday. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm posting dates here. I should have that up by end of day.
Awesome. If you could share them in the comments. So if anybody's rewatching this on the replay and is interested in one of her workshops or classes to learn more, I would highly recommend that you sign up and check one of those classes out.
Thank
I think
you.
it definitely would be beneficial. How can we get in touch with you if we need an attorney to trademark or do some copywriting for us, or maybe protect us because we got a cease and desist letter? How do we reach you?
Well, I'm happy to give a consultation. Right now, I am such the regular entrepreneur that my website's down while I'm rebuilding it. Hard work. Like I just want people to understand I totally get all of that. So right now, and I'll put my Facebook page in the comments.
Awesome.
And message me on Facebook right now. And that's the quickest way to get a hold of me. And then whether, a lot of times, pricing for trademarks is a lot higher than copyrights. And so some people choose to take my classes, which is not an attorney-client relationship. It's, it's educational, informational, but we go through it and they might decide that, okay, after this I can file, I feel like I
confident enough
to do it. Other times people are like, nope, I still don't.
I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. And the copyright class that I'm developing, you saw me taking some notes because I had some more like, ooh, add that to it.
Yeah.
Is really understanding what copyrights are and what you can protect. And I'm looking to make it more of a especially high volume people, sort of a class to know what to do. And then I'm going to also offer like a training to how to go through the process so that you can in-house.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing that.
Thanks.
And I'm glad that you're doing them online too. So
no, I did them. It was hilarious. I had done them locally for quite a while, and then I was like, why am I not doing this online?
And reaching more people.
Right. And so what I really enjoy what I'm doing right now, this is a unique time, I should say this, is that probably the next 4 classes of the trademark, somewhere roughly around there. I love doing live, but I'm going to be doing them once a week, I think for the next 4 or 5 weeks. And then after that, I'll be creating a recorded version. And so, and dialing back my live time. The live classes are limited to 10 people. So it's a nice small live with me versus video. So I definitely, that's a bonus.
Good deal.
And then I'm also happy to, if there's like, sometimes there's a group like podcasters, right? They have a lot of questions that overlap. It's fun when the classes are all different businesses. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if there's ever a group that was like, hey, I've got 10 people and we're all in the same industry, I'd be happy to book a session separately.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And tailor it a bit.
Very good. Yeah, I will look for that and share that. And Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on and chatting. And I know we went over a little bit, but I appreciate your time. I apologize for going over, but thank you so much. It was great seeing you again. We've been on COVID lockdown, so I haven't seen you in a while.
Like, oh my God. No, thank you so much for having me. I just love talking about this stuff. So it's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll see you soon too. But thank you.
I hope so. Okay. All right, and the double way, we'll see.
Yes, double way. Wait, there you go. Okay. Take care.